Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Adda. So this is a series on Java 8, and in the previous video we have discussed about the Java 8 features in a very brief. We have discussed about those features like Lambda expression, functional interfaces, method reference, stream APIs, comparable and comparator, optional class, date and time API, and some miscellaneous features. We have discussed those features in brief, and now in this video I'm going to pick up the one feature which is Lambda expression, and we are going to discuss the lambda expression in very details. So what we are going to do is, first of all, we are going to see what is lambda expression, why we are using the lambda expression, and what are the syntax of the lambda expression, and how we can use it, and where we should use it. Everything we are going to discuss in this video. So practically I'm going to create a application and open it in the IntelliJ, and there I will try to show you the use cases of the lambda expression and how we can write the code using the lambda expression. So let's get started for that. Let me try to go to the slide where I have noted down the lambda expression. So let's see what is lambda expression. Lambda expression basically express the instance of functional interface. So in the introduction video we discussed about what is functional interface and what are the things inside the functional interface. So if you don't know, let me try to remind you that the functional interface is a kind of interface with a single abstract method in it, and there is no limitation on the static and default method. So the functional interface is a kind of interface with a single abstract method. So basically lambda expression help us in implementing that single abstract method in a very concise way. Okay, so you can say that lambda expression basically express the instance of functional interface. In other words, you can say that lambda expression help us in implementing the single abstract method of the functional interface. Okay, lambda expression also introduces the functional style of coding in Java. So lambda expression in Java are the same as lambda function, which are the short block of code that accepts input as a parameter and returns a resultant value. So you can say that lambda expression also introduces the functional style of coding in Java. Through lambda expression, we can directly call the functional interface method, which is single abstract method. You can also say that lambda is an expression through which we can represent an anonymous function. The function which does not have any name or a modifier is called as anonymous function. So when we are going to use the lambda expression to call the single abstract method of the functional interface, you will be seeing that how the anonymous function is being made and how the lambda expression is representing the anonymous function. Everything we are going to see there. So what will happen is, let's say you have a single abstract method of the functional interface, then we'll make that single abstract method in the form of anonymous function first, and then with the help of lambda expression we can implement that. So this is about the lambda expression. In the next slide we are going to discuss why we are using lambda expression. Okay, so why lambda expression? The first thing is lambda expression help us in functional programming. It introduces the functional programming in Java. Okay, you can also say that the second point is parallel processing of the code. So lambda expression help us in parallel processing of the code. In many scenario, we'll see that lambda expression is helping us to doing the parallel processing of code. How it is being done, we'll see in the future. And the third point is lambda expression help us in writing the code very concise way by removing the boilerplate code. Okay. Now let me try to go to the next slide and show you the syntax of the lambda expression. So here you can see the syntax of lambda expression. The first one is called as lambda input parameter, which is the parenthesis, opening and closing parenthesis. This is called as lambda input parameter, and then we have the arrow which is denoting the lambda, and then we have the lambda body where we do the implementation of the anonymous function. So this is about the expression, or you can say the lambda syntax, how the lambda is looking like. First of all, we have the lambda input parameter, which is opening and closing parenthesis, and then we have the arrow, which is denoting the lambda, and then we have the opening and closing curly bracket, which is acting as a lambda body where we'll try to implement the anonymous function. So yeah, this is about the syntax. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to the IntelliJ and then I will create one simple application, and there we'll try to see how we can write the codes using the lambda expression. So first of all, what I will do is I will try to create a functional interface. There I will try to create a single abstract method, and then with the help of lambda expression, we are going to implement that method. So everything we are going to discuss. Let me try to go to the IntelliJ now. So go to the IntelliJ. Let me try to create one simple application here. So go to the project and let me try to select this one. Let's say lambda expression. Okay, and something like lambda expression demo. We have to provide the archetype. So let's say it is quick start and just create it. Open it in a new tab and wait for a few seconds. Just wait for a few seconds. It will do the necessary configuration and then we can start doing the development. Yeah, it is good. Now go to the source main, and here we have the main class, which is app. Now let me try to create one package here. Let's say it's a lambda. Okay, and also let me try to create one package for the functional interface. So let's say functional interface. Okay, so first of all, before going to write down the code for the functional interface and then try to implement the method inside the functional interface using lambda, let me try to again give you the basic heads up of the functional interface. So go to the PowerPoint here, and if you'll come here to the functional interface, you can see that an interface that contains only one abstract method is known as functional interface. But there is no restriction. You can have n number of default and static method inside a functional interface. Also, let me try to show you a couple of functional interfaces which are already existing. Here you can see we have the runnable, callable, comparable, and comparator. These all are the functional interface. Okay, so let me try to brief you, or let me try to walk you through one of those functional interface, how they are written and how the code structure is looking like for this functional interfaces. Let me try to show you. And then we'll try to create one custom functional interface, and then using the lambda expression, we'll try to implement that functional interface single abstract method. And there we'll also see how the lambda expression is working. So go here and let me try to call this, let's say runnable. So if you'll go inside the runnable, you can see this is a interface, and at the top you can see it is annotated with @ functional interface. So it means it is a functional interface, and if you'll come inside its body, you can see it has only one single abstract method. Its name is run. So this is a functional interface. Okay, now if you'll yeah, so this is about the functional interface. This is how it is looking like, and you can also check for the other functional interfaces like callable, comparable, comparator, everything you can go and just look into it, how they are written. So now come here to the functional interface. Let me try to create one functional interface for you. So just let's say its name is functional interface demo, and it is an interface. So first thing what we have to do is we have to annotate this with @functional interface. Now, now you have annotated it with the @functional interface. You have to provide a single abstract method here. So let's say public void test. Okay. So we have created one single abstract method here. Why we are getting this? Let me try to see. Okay. So there is some mismatch of JDK, I think so. Let me try to set it out. Set language label to 8. Okay. Yeah, we are good. So what we did is we have created this functional interface, annotated this interface with @functional interface annotation, and then we have written down this single abstract method for it, which is test. So our functional interface is ready. Now what we are going to do is we are going to see how Lambda expression is implementing this single abstract method. So for this, let me try to go to the Lambda package, and here let me try to create one uh, class called Lambda expression demo. Okay. Now if you'll come here, so we are going to implement this test method of the functional interface, which is also a single abstract method through the Lambda expression. So we'll also see how the Lambda expression is working. Okay. So come here to this class, and first of all, what you have to do is you have to copy this method. Come here to this class, paste it out, and what you have to do is in the explanation of the Lambda expression, we have discussed that the Lambda expression is helping us in implementing the anonymous function, or Lambda expression represent the anonymous function. And what anonymous function was? It was a function without the modifier and the name. So first of all, what we have to do, we have to convert this single abstract method in the form of anonymous function, and then with the help of Lambda expression, what we are going to do is we are going to implement that function or implement that single abstract method. Okay. So let me try to again brief you that, and then we'll try to implement it. So come here. Here you can see Lambda is an expression through which we can represent an anonymous function, a method which does not have any name or the modifier. And this is the syntax. So let me try to come here, and yeah. So we have to make this test method as a anonymous function. So we have to remove everything from here. And how the syntax of Lambda expression was looking like, let me try to write down for you. So it was like opening and closing parenthesis, and then the lambda, which is the arrow sign, and then we have the lambda body, which is opening and closing bracket. So we have to add this lambda, which is arrow sign here, and then we have the opening and closing bracket, which is a body. In the body you can do the implementation that you want to do. So as of now, if you'll go to the functional interface, you can see the test method is returning nothing, and it is also does not have any argument in it, right? So it is a simple method which does not return anything and does not take anything as argument. So if you'll come here, what you can do in the body, you can, let's say you want to print something. So let's say you want to print lambda expression demo, something like that. So this is the structure of the lambda expression. What we did, we have copied the method that we want to implement to the place where we want to implement it, and then what we did, we have just made this as an anonymous function, and then we introduce the lambda and then the body of the lambda. Now this will won't work here. Let me try to put it inside the main method. So just put it here and yeah, we are good. Now what we have to do is we have to create a reference of the functional interface and assign this whole thing, assign this lambda to the reference. So just create the functional interface demo reference here. Okay. And now what we have to do is with the help of functional interface demo reference, what we need to do, we need to call this method that we have created there and then simply run it and then see. So why we are getting this error here? Come here. Okay, let me try to remove this runnable and come to this and then run this main method. Now you will come to see this output which is saying that lambda expression demo which we are printing here. Okay, so this is how what you can do with the help of lambda expression. You can implement the functional interface single abstract method which was test. Okay, and here is the lambda expression come into the picture which help us in implementing the single abstract method of the functional interface, or you can say the abstract method of the functional interface. Okay, now let me try to show you something else as well. So if let's say if the opening and closing parenthesis does not have any argument or the method does not have any argument, then you don't have to provide any argument here in the opening and closing parenthesis. If there is arguments, then you have to provide it here. Let's say if you have only one argument, then this parent opening and closing parenthesis is also not needed. If you have more than one argument, then it is needed. Okay, and now let's say in the body, if you have only single line, then this body is also not needed. If you have more than one line, then this body is needed. So as of now, we have only single line, so we can remove this body and just keep it simple. Now if you run it again, you will see how it is looking like. You can see we are getting the result. Okay, so make a note that when we have more than one argument, we have to provide the argument here. Else, if we have only one argument, we can remove this opening and closing parenthesis. If we have only one line in the body in the implementation, then we can remove the opening and closing bracket. If we have more than one line, then we have to keep that. Okay, as simple as that. Now, this is a very simple example of the functional interface and how the lambda expression is helping us in writing down very clear and concise code. Okay, or you can also say that how the lambda expression is helping us in implementing the single abstract method of the functional interface. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to introduce or going to write couple of other method, others abstract method which has some return type or some argument, and then we'll try to see how it is working or how with the help of lambda expression we can implement those methods. So first of all, let me try to create uh, abstract method with the argument. Okay, so let's say we have argument, let's say int x. Okay, now you can see we are getting one error here, which is why we are getting. Can you guess? Because we have more than one single abstract, like we have more than one abstract method. We don't have only single abstract method. So that is why it is giving the error. So we have to comment out one of the abstract methods. So let me try to comment it out. And I think it should be good. Still we are getting the error. Okay. So again, you have to comment it out this piece of code as well. So just comment it. Go to the functional interface and let's say we have created or we have developed one abstract method with the input passed. Okay, and then let's see how it is behaving or how with the help of lambda expression we can implement this method. So the first thing is you have to copy this method. go to the place where you want to implement it. Now just paste it out and then make it a anonymous function. So you have to remove the name and the modifier. And now what you can do, you can also remove the type of the argument it is passed here. So just remove the int here and then now introduce the lambda and then introduce the body. In the body, whatever you want to do, you can do. So let me try to print something here. Let's say the argument passed to test method is something x, right? This is the argument that we are passing. Now what you have to do, you have to introduce the reference here of the functional interface. So just provide the reference and we are good. Now just copy this reference and with the help of this reference you have to call this that method and you have to pass the argument here. Let's say the argument that we are passing is 34. Now run this main method and then see. You can see we are getting the result here. The argument passed to the test method is 34. So this is how you can implement the method with the argument. So this time we have only one argument. So what we can do, and in the body also you can see we have only single line. So you can remove this body from here and keep it in a single line and then try to run it. And here you will see the same result will come. Okay. Now you can also minimize the code. Let me try to, because it is a single argument, you can remove the opening and closing parenthesis and then run it again and you can see the same result is coming up. So you can see you can like minimize the code in a very concise way. You can write the code in a very concise way through the lambda expression. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is let me try to comment it out and try to show you some different scenario. So come here to the functional interface, comment out this single abstract method as well. Now let's say we want to introduce two arguments. So just copy this, paste it out. Let's say this time we have int y as well. Now how the lambda expression will help us in writing down this code, let me try to show you. So copy this, come here to the place where you want to implement this, paste it out, make it an anonymous function. So remove the name and the modifier. Now you can remove the type of your argument. So keep it like this and then you have to introduce the lambda expression and the body. In the body, whatever you want to do, you can do. So just print it out and let's say the argument passed to the test method are x and let's say and y. Okay. Now what you have to do, you have to create a reference and then assign it here. So good. Now with this reference, you have to call the method. So functional interface demo dot test. You have to pass, let's say x value is 23 and y value is 34. Now run this and then see. You can see this, right? The result are coming. Now, because this is a single line, so you can remove this and make it in a single line. Just run this again and then see the result are coming. Now, because you have more than one argument, you cannot remove this opening and closing parenthesis. If you'll try to remove it, you will see the error. So just keep it because you have more than one argument in it. So this is how you can implement the abstract method with the more than one argument. Okay. Now let me try to show you the different scenario. So let me try to comment it out, come here to the lambda expression and then comment it out. And let's say this time what we are going to do is we are going to write a single stack method with the return type. Okay, so it should return something. So just let's say it is returning some int. We are passing this to argument and it is also returning an argument. Sorry, it is also returning the integer out of it. So how we can implement this with the help of lambda expression? So the same thing you have to do, just copy this piece of code, come to the place where you want to implement it, make it a anonymous function by removing the name and the modifiers, and then remove the type of your integer, and then introduce the lambda here and then the body. Now just because it is returning something, so just try to return, let's say we want to return the addition of these two arguments, so just return x plus y. Okay, and we have to create the reference of the functional interface to call the method. So just create that, assign it, and then call the method here. So functional interface demo dot test, let's say 3423. Okay, and it would be returning something, right? So we need to catch it somewhere, so let's say, and then print it out. So okay, now run this and then see. So you can see, okay, we are doing the sum, right? So you can see this. What it is happening here is with the help of lambda expression, we are implementing that function single abstract method, which is passing this two argument, and then what this test is doing is it is getting this two argument and then adding it out and then returning as a result. So in the implementation, you can see we are passing this two argument and then we are returning the result here with addition. So that is what in the console we are getting. Now because we have only one line inside the body, you can remove this body, and you can also remove this return and just keep it as a one liner. And now run it again and then see. You can see you are getting the result here. So this is how the lambda expression is used to implement the abstract method, or you can say single abstract method of the functional interface. Okay, so this is about the lambda expression, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Please share this video to the friends in need, and in the upcoming video we are going to discuss about the others topic, like let me try to show you the functional interfaces. We are going to discuss about the functional interfaces, how to develop your custom functional interface, and what all already existing Java functional interfaces are and their use cases. Everything we are going to discuss in the upcoming videos. So stay tuned and please support the channel. Thanks.